Bob Engle, a volunteer with Memory Matters, is here to share with us about how volunteering can give veterans a purpose. So first of all, Bob, let me thank you for your service, especially as we celebrate the veterans this week. And let's start with your experience as a volunteer at Memory Matters. Tell us about that.
Well, I started at Memory Matters just about 9 years ago. And the way I got involved is my mother-in-law came to live with us after she had an accident and she broke her pelvis. So after her rehab, she came and lived with us for about 2.5 years. She started to develop some forms of dementia, and so we looked into some respite for my wife and I because my mother-in-law required constant supervision. So we discovered Memory Matters, and I was able to take her there twice a week, and that gave us a couple of hours during those days where we were able to go off and do some of our own personal things to do. After she passed away, I thought it would be appropriate to give some time back to Memory Matters, and as my wife would say, we started to pay it forward. So I started, as I said, about 9 years ago, and I evolved into kind of doing the news each day that I volunteered. And what that entailed was telling stories about Hilton Head and try to get the folks involved in the local communities. I started off with, why do they call it Coligny Plaza? So I did a little research on that and found out that Gaspard de Coligny was an admiral, French admiral, who paid folks to come over to the New World and set up some forms of government. Anyway, after that, we went into Mitchellville, and then we went into Santa Elena, and we did other local venues. So that's about it, and I enjoy working with Memory Matters all the time that I put in there.
How do you think it's benefited you from serving others, and how did your military background help you with being a volunteer?
Oh, I look forward to going there every day. And the way I got my military career, I spent 22 years in the Navy as a Navy pilot, and I was afforded so many opportunities. I was in Vietnam twice, once for the Tet offensive and once for the evacuation. And during those 22 years, I was able to have so many experiences. And I shared those with the participants at Memory Matters. For example, this past year, I talked about the Apollo 11 recovery. And I was lucky enough to be on the prime recovery ship, the USS Hornet, in 1969. And so I gave back to those folks my experience on when the president came aboard, when we picked up the astronauts and we took them back to Hawaii.
So tell me a little bit about why Memory Matters is so important in the community.
Well, what I'd like to say is that Memory Matters has provided me the opportunity to give back, and I would invite anyone in the community, your viewers, who have a loved one that might need some care or someone who would like to volunteer to please come to Memory Matters on Hilton Head and see what we do and see if it would be right for you.
Well, thank you, Bob, again for being with us, and thank you again for your service and what you're doing in the community.
Thank you very much.